All right, cool. Thanks, Kev. Did we already lose somebody? Oh, here he comes.
No.
He's making his way back in. Nick is coming.
Nick is back.
It is drunk day today, and we have Julie in the green bikini. We've got Nick in his spot, and they're imbibing as we go through the course of the show. And we'll do another breath test in a little while. And
See, Nick was already legally drunk.
yeah, and Julie working her way in. But
I'm getting warm, guys. I'm getting warm.
We'll get to that in a little bit and see where they're doing along. But our next guest, man, we saw this guy at the Spectrum sold-out show.
Wow.
Amazing.
Great.
Huge ass crowd and killed him. Ladies and gentlemen, he's performing at the Taj in Atlantic City this weekend, tonight and tomorrow. Can't believe he's here this early in the morning, even though he's working tonight, and we appreciate that. Dane Cook is here.
Yeah, I felt great coming in here this morning, and I'm getting kind of a negative fetus vibe in here today.
Negative fetuses.
Yeah.
What's going on?
You getting that too?
Yeah, I'm not sure what.
Sorry about that.
Dude, I think that's an actionable lawsuit right there.
I want to go back to that how I started this with that sold out show at the Spectrum, which by the way is they're tearing that down.
I know. That's how bad that show was.
No, you had nothing to do with it.
You probably were the last comedy show there. I'm going to guess.
He was.
Yeah, definitely. So that's pretty historic.
Yeah, no, that was a wild night. I mean, you could tell why they had to, rip that thing down. Though it was like the doldrums of that building were pretty brutal.
Yeah, that thing was coming to pieces.
Yeah.
But I mean, to see a comedian, I had never seen a comedian in front of that big of a crowd before, ever. I mean,
Or working the round.
or in the
Which
round.
is, you're one of the few people who can pull that off. I saw the only comedian I ever saw working the round was Bob Hope, which was weird. Believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah.
The first time I ever worked around was in 4th grade when I was getting my ass kicked by 6 kids. And I just remember I loved that whole circular thing happening with each boot to the face.
Right. Yeah.
I thought, wow, this is where I want to be.
It's more masochistic. Was that something that just that grew? I mean, because you do that a fair amount working in the round.
Yeah, I did. I think I did 80 arenas last year.
Jesus,
and nothing too scary about walking out in front of 15, 25,000 people on any given night. But no, it's what Steve Martin did when I was 15. My sister Kelly went and saw him at Madison Square Garden. She came home and she was like, I just saw this unbelievable show. And it was literally that night where I said to her, I'm going to headline Madison Square Garden someday.
And you did.
And I did.
And sold out.
The idea.
Dreams do come true.
Yeah.
And you know what else I just did? I actually just painted my dog like an angry fetus. You can actually have them painted.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like negative.
Had no idea.
I'm going to call back everything today.
What can't they do?
Call back and tag on everything.
Sure.
You know what? The idea of stand-up comedy terrifies me. I can't do it. I never would be able to do it, and therefore will never try to do it. But being in front of larger crowds, like just the other day, I went to this event at the Art Museum, in the famous Rocky Steps.
Sure.
And it was full of people, and I have no problem getting on the mic, emceeing events and things like that. I actually feel comfortable in numbers like that. But you get me in a room full of like 6 or 7 people or a dozen people, and I'm supposed to be a keynote speaker or something like that, that kind of terrifies me a little bit more than it does the big crowd.
Yeah. How do you do it orgies?
It remains to be seen.
And will remain to be seen since you're married. That will never happen.
I would love to find out.
Yeah.
But
Damn it.
But is it easier in front of a smaller crowd or a bigger crowd, or does it make a difference?
Actually, smaller crowds are much more difficult, especially when it's like, I would do these gigs in New York City coming up where it was, 3 o'clock in the morning and you're trying to win, 14 girls like this. It was always, what people say, is it scary? And honestly, what was really scary was 1994 when I had a toothache that I couldn't fix for like 9 years because, there's no dental in comedy.
Right,
You're sitting in your underwear playing Nintendo going, is this it? Is this as good as it? That's terrifying. So this is easy now.
So there was a point. Obviously, you were. We know of you from your successful point on, but you had to work the road a long time, right? I'm sure you had a lot of hell gigs.
A lot of great heckles. I think I should write a book about some of the great. 2 of my favorite. Well, one of them I was in New York City, and there was this club called the Boston Comedy Club, and the bathroom was like right next to the stage. And I'm on stage and I'm really bombing. I'm trying to new jokes and I can't get anything going. And all of a sudden, a guy stumbles past and you can hear him vomiting in the bathroom. Right during my whole show, you just hear blah, like the loudest. And when he finally came out, I looked at him and I said, "You all right there, buddy?" And perfectly timed, he goes, "Yeah, I got a hold of some bad comedy."
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There's no way back from that.
Yeah, there really wasn't.
The first time I
When they up you, you can't. It's hard to crawl back.
The first time I caught you, though, was it was like a half-hour comedy special on Comedy Central. Never had heard of you before, and I love stand-up comedy. I've been a fan of it for years. So when I turned it on and I saw you, the first thing I noticed was just high energy, And I was like, all right, let me check this guy out, And I'm always willing to give any stand-up comedian at least 5 minutes of my time. And I watched the entire special, so I was really excited to see you in the round at the Spectrum. And I was just blown away with your last 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
That was the good part.
That was no. What I'm saying is, listen,
When I set myself on fire.
a fireworks show is awesome from beginning to end, but the last 10 minutes is always the best.
Money
And
shot, yeah.
But I've never seen a stand-up comedy act end like that. You know what I mean? Like
Crescendo like that?
Yeah, I mean, it was just so powerful and so laugh out loud funny that like you have to go see it again because it's like one of those funny movies where you have to go see it again because everybody's laughing too hard to actually catch all the really funny subtle moments. You know what I mean?
I came up in the time I came up in Boston, it was like these guys were just legendary comics that would come in and just blow the room apart.
With like Lenny Clark and people like that?
Yeah, Lenny and Steve Sweeney and Don Gavin. All these guys were like just unbelievably powerful comedians. This guy, Kevin Knox, who was just, a mentor to me. Unbelievable guys that would go in and gave you every single part of their body, sweat, blood, tears, whatever it was to just, give you a show. And so that's how I came up, and that's how I want to do it.
So right from the beginning, you were pretty kinetic on stage, or did the style develop over time?
Oh, yeah, no, boundless enthusiasm. I mean, really no jokes for the first, this is 20 years I'm doing stand-up, and the first 10 was just like
sell it with attitude.
Manic, just, style, I guess, over substance, but whatever I had to do to get the laughs,
But what you do, and I think out of the gate, you got your success. We talked about this before. You did the MySpace thing and built up all that stuff, and you also built up a lot of envy from other comedians who would dump on you. But the truth of the matter is, you can tell your writing the material is rich, and what you're talking about, Casey, at the end, is it seems to me that over the years you have something that's working well, and judging by the way the bit goes, you've just kept adding on zinger and zinger. So it's so dense with stuff. That's material you've worked for many years.
Yeah, it takes a long time to make it all look like it's just gravy, but really you have to be out there every night, and that's what I did for so many years, man. Just every night in a club somewhere, or not a club, but like a Chinese food restaurant or a laundromat.
There was a place in Boston that was a Chinese restaurant, right? Did you play that place?
I played it all the time.
Oh, really?
It was in an attic of a Chinese food restaurant. They paid us in Chinese food.
There was a documentary about the Boston comedy scene
called When Stand Up Stood Out.
When Stand Up Stood Out, yeah. It was wild. That place was a dump.
But that's what that's the other amazing part about your act. And you're talking about other comedians dumping on you, but like, dude, so many comedians will just phone it in. You can't do that. Your act does not allow that to happen. You know what I mean? Like, and I've seen comedians just come out and you're like, all right, I got 15 minutes here, and here's the impression that I do. Here's the other joke that I do, and thank you and good night. You can't do that.
Yeah, no. My show is definitely about giving people everything I got. So that's what I'm doing this weekend.
How did you do 7 hours?
Yeah,
that you hold the record for 7 hours.
The Laugh Factory
of a stand-up run.
It's definitely not a world record. I think some guy stood on stage for like 48 days or something somewhere.
Really?
But there was a club in LA that Dave Chappelle and I had like a little back and forth because he had done like 6 hours and I did 7. And what do? You do crowd work for like most of it. I knew everybody in that crowd and like had dissected their lives or made fun of their shirts or whatever it was that I needed to do.
Was the audience changing out?
No, they stuck with me the whole time.
Same audience.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd never seen you live until the Spectrum show. You did 2 Spectrum shows, I think, at least. We were in town twice. And I was never like a huge fan, but I liked you. And then after going to the show, I certainly gained an appreciation. But I didn't know the level of fanaticism that your fans really do have.
Right.
And that blew me away.
You got to see my emails someday.
Well, I was about to ask. I mean, is it
alarming?
If you're in the room with somebody like that, can you tell immediately, and does it weird you out?
What do you mean? As far
Where
as
someone's out of their mind, like just a sycophantic.
A super fan.
Like wearing a bikini sitting next to you.
Because Julie is a huge fan of you.
I'm telling you, well, like I had a guy one night. He kept standing up and he was pointing to his neck, and basically he had my bits written on his neck. He had like my set list on his.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, I have tons of pictures of people that tattoo like super, finger or like a bit of a routine that they animate somewhere on their body.
The super finger stuff they do a lot?
Oh yeah.